And we are live. Well, today we're going to be talking about Valentine's Day and how Valentine's Day is one of those days most people put on a calendar, for example, and just say, okay, this is the day that I can potentially have sex. So therefore, I'm going to do everything in my power to do so. And it's one of those days, and the other ones would be anniversary, the other one would be birthday. So they sort of, yeah, because we're in a sexless relationship, this is probably one of those days where I can try and push as hard as I can in order to get something. And I can see why that it can be a way of changing or not changing, but at least getting a chance to connect with the partner because they'll they'll feel the most obligated because one of those where you can share. So really in this day this year we're going to do things a little bit different, and you have to consider that right now within your relationship there's negative association with sex, and therefore, and I always use this analogy that it's kind of like a band. Imagine an elastic band. Every time you bring up sex within your relationship, you're continually stretching it over. So when you make innuendos, when you offer up more sex, when you start touching her up, when you start doing stuff when she's already got sexual discomfort, the more you present it, the more you're stretching that band. And over a period of time, it becomes very difficult to get back. So within Valentine's Day, when you start pushing things, it's you stretching it again. So what we need to do is stop the stretching of the sexless band, for lack of a better term, and really try and get it to snap back. So snapping back to a place where you're comfortable around sex, where you are actually having fun as a couple. You now transition to attraction, and then eventually transition into seduction. So there's going to be several things that you're going to need to do with this, especially when it comes to Valentine's Day. Most guys would sort of take this frame where it's a bit passive, where you're going to be asking, what do you want us to do? Or can we do something for Valentine's? And you're sort of trying to gauge to see what she might like. So what can I provide she really wants? And when I provide what she really wants, therefore it should give me an opportunity to be able to move things in order for us to have sex. And really, that's probably the wrong mindset because I can be a bit passive. This is an opportunity for you to actually present something that is extremely amazing in terms of just planning the day out for her and say, you know what, I've booked this restaurant for dinner. Afterwards, maybe we can go and have some cocktails. And the reason why I've booked this restaurant is because there's this amazing meal that this chef signature meal that this chef is making. I want us to try that. I think it's going to be a really good experience. And then afterwards, got booked this bar with this really amazing cocktails, and really just planning it out and saying this is what we're going to do is going to be really really powerful, because all of a sudden you've taken the burden of her to being the one that makes the decision of what's going to happen. But at the same time, it just shows a bit of initiative that you're leading, and therefore she gets to trust you. Now she like to go and say, oh, I'm not sure if I want to be doing that, and I'm not sure if that's the thing that I want to be doing, which is fine, because again, it's more powerful when you have suggested it and you've already planned it and she says no, than for you to be asking her what should we be doing. And really what is you're communicating is that I'm indecisive. I want you to make a decision because I want to do what you want, and then hopefully by doing so I might get what I want, which is a very bad mindset to have when you're approaching Valentine's Day. So really, the whole idea of where you're going to go with Valentine's Day should be centered around you guys having fun and allowing that snap back in your relationship. That okay, we've got this negative association to sex. How do we create positive experiences from now on? So I'm going to focus on having fun. And how do I do that? Now, in terms of having fun, this is one where most guys get stifled a lot, because your mental bandwidth is taken up by the fact that you're in a sexless relationship, and it's bringing you down, and you nothing to celebrate about your relationship. And again, it's not even just you that's suffering, your wife is suffering just the same. And generally, without when you take sexless relationship out of the picture, generally most adults would, and as I said, that's the reason why Netflix and you know social media and all of these are big hits, because we're trying to find ways of entertaining ourselves and really feeling something that is of excitement, and therefore we're just completely glued to this stuff. So generally, and again, that compounds on us feeling sad and feeling shitty about ourselves. You have to figure out, how can I make myself happy, and how, what does that look like? And this is why really starting to be a, trying to be a bit more selfish is a very fun. And when I mean selfish, I mean figuring out what is the thing that makes me happy. For me, one of the things I enjoy doing, and sometimes my wife thinks I'm ridiculous, is that I'll watch. There's a certain few films that I watch over and over again because I just find them silly. I find them funny, but it's one of those things you cannot be fun and interesting when you don't think funny and interesting. So you have to expose yourself to that environment where you're watching something funny and interesting. Therefore, that will get you into that playful state, because a lot of people, they might be on social media, they might find something funny and so on, but it's figuring out those things that do things that would get me to a place where I'm more likely to be in a open to a funny playful state, is the fact that I'm going and I'm getting any stress that is on me out by training in the gym. So there's certain level of things that I do them and allow myself to listen to comedy, for example. So when I'm driving, instead of listening to the news or listening to the radio, I'll put on somebody, a comedian, to be playing through my speakers, and I'll be laughing. And so when I can expose myself to the funny stuff, or at least how a comedy, how a comedian would be cynical about looking at situations, it gets me to start thinking in a cynical way about situations, and then I just be operating in humor. So my transition for me to be funny or enjoy myself or self amusement wise becomes very easy for me to transition to that, and that is what then helps me to be playful around within my relationship. So it's a very important point, and something that you should be trying to work towards, especially on this Valentine's Day. That, like, how do I transition into, funny? How do I transition into something that is more playful within my relationship, so we can actually have the best within this? No, most of you guys uh, are going to be extremely serious. You've already made the deal with yourself that this is the day I want to have sex. So you're now pushing everything to make this happen. The only thing that's going to do is either that you will actually have sex, but it's going to further stretch that sexless span. So you you need to consider how you're going to play this. But if I had to play it, and if I was in a sexless relationship, I'll most likely just focus on the day of being fun and try and get uh, that we are enjoying, not especially me, our self amusement, and then by as a byproduct, she would have fun just as well, because she'll see me having fun, and she will want to have fun too, and focus on just having fun. And that positive vibe is what then takes you into a really good frame of mind moving forward, and really just building upon that is what was going to open the doors for you guys to start being in attraction and doing that. Hopefully that's something that's going to be helpful for you guys, that you can use for this Valentine's, so you can actually have a good Valentine's, and it be this catalyst for you to come out of a sex relationship. So thank you very much. I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.